In 2010, 38% of the young adults in the United States of America identified themselves as activists. In 2011, the percentage increased by 73%. And now, since we're in 2016, it has, multiplied itself. Many of them, these are the activities they used to do. They wrote letters to the Congress to ask for change. They donated much of their time to work towards bringing social change in their areas of stay. Today, the young by then have now grown up. It's now 5 years past. You could have that change too. Welcome to today's show. We share something small that might bring change in your life. For so many days, so many years, so many times, I've been talking about success in our success series that we always put in our YouTube channel. Today is a different story that we really needed to share together to see how we can bring change in our communities and societies. It's a story that does not include or need you to have a lot of money to change. It is something that does not make you to first go to have a master's degree or a PhD to create change in your society. It is something that does not make you or need you to first get on a plane and go to another country to realize that you need to create change. It's about you understanding your role in your society, understanding your role in your community. You could be that very person who would inspire thousands of people to bring change in your village or town or city where you stay. I realize that we always complain about our governments are doing this, our governments are doing this. But us, it's not bringing change. It's not bringing what the development that we really are looking for. Sometimes it's not what we see or what we think. It's what we want to achieve. Your ways of understanding, your ways of looking at things determine your ways of achieving them. I want to give you a simple story about my personal background. I know myself as a smart guy, and I'm proud of that. I reason so fast, and I used to speak so fast, or even when I'm talking, I used to be extremely fast. I grew up in a family of two great personnel who are indeed great in politics of my country. My mother and my father. My mother worked so hard to see that the women in the area where we stay are empowered to be self-independent, to bring change to the people or the women or the children or the men around them. So was my father. When he died in 2009, there was something I thought that maybe I'll never reach to where I wanted to go. Because we always used to talk about how our future, or my future basically, would be. I was in high school, finishing up. In other words, in fact, in Africa, it's middle school if you convert it to the American way of education. It was my second last year to finish middle school. And I thought everything was put to an end. But there is something that always came into my mind that we used to share, me and him. He used to tell me that it's only you who will drive and build your future, not me. Him, that's what he used to say. I grew up knowing that if I don't understand my worth in my community, I'll never be as important as he expected me to be. And I knew that becoming a leader would bring a change in the area wherever I would be. Later, I joined high school, and it so happened that I became a president of the United Nations Club of my school. The reason why I joined these clubs is because I wanted to understand the value of leadership, the value of activism, the value of bringing a change in my society, because I used to see the people around my family bringing change. But it's not about how much money we had or how rich our family is, because not everybody does what I do. And not everybody in my very family is as rich as me or even the brothers and sisters around me. The fact is, once you understand your value and your worth in your society, you can be that person who would bring change in your community. I wanted to share today with you the value of being an activist. And I'm going to give or share with you just 4 key aspects or importances of being an activist. And number 1 is self-esteem. When I was still in high school, as a president and a vice coordinator of Scripture Union actually, and then at the same time, just in 1 year, I was the legal advisor of one of the culture clubs. The key aspect was I wanted to see that in every sector we would have people who would work so hard to see that we bring change in the area where we operated from. My becoming a leader or a president of a great club, it wasn't that I put in money to bribe or to pay some people to vote for me. It was out of what I used to do that made me become the president. You could be that very person in your area, in your village, your town, your city, who could bring that change that people are looking for. When I was starting this episode today, I started with the percentages or the reports of the American young adults who decided to become social activists in their areas. Every year the number increases. And every year these young adults or the youth grow older. So they become adults. The reason why we do share these things every day, me and you, is because you and I, we have an obligation, we have a role to play towards improving the mindset, the economic and political situation of our countries. Why would it be important for me to have millions of money on my account when thousands of people are lacking? Why would it be important for me to put a whole plate of food when millions of people are crying, and then after I throw that food in the dustbin? Somebody gave me a story about a young boy who was on the streets of Boston. He came to the streets because his father was a drug addict. So he was put to prison. His mother was not in position to look for funds to pay for the bills, at the same time pay for the education of this child. The child decided to go and find his way elsewhere. Not that he wanted to be what normal people call as street children, but because of the conditions that couldn't favor him to sustain his life and their life as a family at home. It really opened up my mind, and I asked myself, I have been doing this thing. I've been, working towards improving the mindset, helping people around, changing the lifestyles of them. But there is something else I haven't done. If I have done it, not to the extent of improving the lives of these people. Today, as you're watching this video, you could be also an individual or a person who is thinking about the same story. Maybe your sister faced the same challenge. Maybe yourself, you face the same challenge. Maybe somebody around next to you, next door, face the same challenge, that their children are on the streets. Activism is not about fighting for human rights by talking about them. It's about understanding the principles of change in the community where you are. Everybody wishes to be happy. Some work hard, others they fail, and they don't make it. Everyone wants his experience to be improved, their knowledge to be adjusted, their communities to be changed. It only takes you and me to stand together and we work towards achieving that. Many people will come and share with you their stories. The question you need to ask yourself, how best have you done to see that you see a change in their lives, their mindsets? I want to give you the four key importances of being an activist, just as I had mentioned earlier. When I talked about self-esteem will take you down to happiness. Because of the confidence you get out of being an activist, because of the people you talk to, because of the people you help, you're going to always be happy. And a happy mind will lead to a positive achievement. You have an opportunity today to decide, not to wait for your government to bring change in your society. If you see a child's right being violated, abused, you have a chance, you who is in position, to speak out loud and talk to the people responsible for that to stop. You have a chance to provide food to the prisoner. Now the Christians, now this is very interesting. The Christians quote these verses in the Bible that always share with the prisoners. I do believe even people who read the Quran and even other Believers, you know this. You could be that person who would bring that impact, positive impact in somebody's life. Let's not wait up for our political leaders to come in every day to dictate for what we want to achieve in our societies. We could start today. We could be the people who could bring change. And I understand, as you're watching this video, you've already noted down a few things that you're going to do tomorrow to see that we have the change in our society. Now, this is number 3. The experience. I already talked to you about my experience in high school and how it has developed me up to where I am today. When I start talking about human rights, when I start talking about development, business, it's not just from the sky that I get to learn these things. But out of the people that I've talked to, out of the people that I've helped, they've also tried to come back to help me somewhere. When you help somebody in need, trust me, he or somebody next to them will come back and try to help you somewhere. I used to discuss with many people when I was still at university. Academically, we used to discuss different papers. And we excelled. I'm not bragging about this, but I believe that the impact I personally created in 2 people's lives still stand.